Welcome to the belated edition of the You Name It podcast with Davin Christensen and Jerry Taylor.
Hola, Jerry.
Hola.
See, we're still speaking. Got to do it quick.
Got to do what quick?
Got to do it quick since we missed a week. Hola.
Yeah, but you're supposed to say bonjour.
Oh, bonjour.
Because I just came back from Montreal.
And how was your Montreal trip?
It was very enlightening. I haven't been there in 3 or 4 years, and it was the same.
Yeah. Did you have any cocktails while you were there, or beers that are higher percentage alcohol, or any weird foods or anything?
I did not, because I'm a curmudgeon, and I really only drink when I don't have to do any work the next day. So I'm not that guy.
Okay. You really weren't working, though. You were just supervising labor, right?
Oh, here we go.
Well, that's what you always tell me. Oh, you're just supervising.
I don't always tell you that. I always tell you I understand how difficult the job is because I did it.
Yeah.
That's other people that tell you that. I'm not one of those people. No, I had to run around just as much as I usually do because same thing, really. When I'm on the floor, it's basically like I'm there in the old days when I was just doing the lead, and I've got to go check on everything. And
now you're responsible for everything to make sure everything is right because your name is on the line.
Yeah, exactly. Anything that goes down, it's all my fault.
Yep.
But we've got a crack team out there. Montreal, the city itself, though, because we don't do work talk anymore on our show.
That's true.
We don't name anything. Montreal is crazy because it's little France. And seriously, little France. Like, Canadians are used to saying things like, oh, no, it's pretty bilingual. But that's because they've been around it a lot. When you come from the States and go there, it's like going to a different country. All the signage, everything's in French. Half the time, there's not an English translation. Although they did fix the subway sign, the subway restaurant sign.
Okay.
Because it used to be where it would have just the French translation of what the sandwich was. So you had to stare at the picture for a while to find out what it was. But now they added English from the last time I was there.
Any weird foods or weird things that we don't have here that they do have there, or names of stuff? Because I remember years ago, they had like some of the cars that we saw at the auto show were named differently because they meant something different in French and they didn't want that word associated with that vehicle.
Yeah, I remember hearing you tell me that story about how the word could be perceived as something else. Whether or not I don't know if it was offensive or if it would just sound stupid. Like the
name of the vehicle is doesn't run in France.
Yeah, the Ford broke down or something like that. Anyway, I didn't eat the poutine, which you've probably had, right?
Oh, I've had that in Miami before. The poutine chips or whatever it is.
No, not that. The poutine is when they take French fries and they cover them in gravy and cheese curds.
It
sounds. Yeah. What? Say it again. What do you think?
Sounds fucking gross.
You think it sounds gross? So did I. When I went there 4 years ago, I thought it sounded gross, but I had to try it because I like all of those things individually.
Right.
So I took a chance and I ordered a backup pizza when I was there. This is the first time I went, just in case.
Okay.
And I didn't touch the pizza because I opened that thing up and my first impression was, wow, this looks like a pile of vomit mixed with shit. And then I tasted it and angels sang to me.
And your arteries clogged immediately.
Yeah, and I was immediately up with my back up against the ceiling, looking down on my body. It was crazy. It's so good. Poutine is.
Well, they probably think that chili cheese fries are disgusting here. You know.
Maybe I don't think so because that goes into the other thing. I didn't get a chance to eat the poutine this time because I'm dieting for one, but the time constraints are the other, and you have to find the restaurant, and sometimes they're far away. So when I went to the little store called the Kushtar, which means 7-Eleven.
Okay.
It's not a direct translation. In fact, it's spelled Couchetard, which made me laugh the whole time, and I thought of you.
Probably means Circle K.
No, but just having tard on the end of the word, I thought, Davin would love this place. It's basically like a 7-Eleven, and I don't know the translation, but they had Ruffles chips, and they had it in Poutine flavored Ruffles chips. So I bought those.
Okay.
And you mentioned chili cheese fries. Is that what I had? No, it wasn't fries, but it was chili cheese Ruffles too.
Oh wow, potato chips with chili. Okay.
And we've always had like Fritos that do that, but we never had Ruffles in this country. Anyway, both of them were good. But the chili cheese was better. The poutine was way too strong. Like I ate those chips, some of those, and still an hour later, like the whole smell was in my face.
Ugh.
So
you posted a picture of the ketchup flavored one. Was that any good?
That was awesome. And that was ketchup flavored Doritos. And that was my favorite of the trip. And you wouldn't think so either. You'd think, boy, that sounds like shit. How would that mix? But it wasn't like you're dipping nacho Doritos into ketchup. It was ketchup flavoring on Dorito chips. And whatever they did to it, it tasted fantastic.
Yeah, I thought dill pickle potato chips would be disgusting, and I liked them. I thought those were really good.
I don't get those because they are too similar to salt and vinegar chips, but not similar enough. So the whole time I eat dill chips, I think of salt and vinegar chips, and it wrecks everything. Isn't that stupid?
No, I can see that. But do they still do the vinegar with fries in Canada?
Mayonnaise with fries. That's what they serve. They don't even bring ketchup out. You order fries, and they bring out a little bowl of mayonnaise to dip it in. The only vinegar I saw is at the airport when I had fish and chips, and they brought the malt vinegar out.
Okay. Well, that was for your chips, because some places serve it like that, which is weird.
That was for the malt vinegar is supposed to be for the fries, you're saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't really use it that way. I was at a place who was I with? Randy McHale in some city, the brown guy in some city. And we went down in the basement of some fancy place, and I ordered fish and chips, and they brought out their special, fish and chip sauce, right?
Right.
And I'm eating and I'm going, this really tastes great. What is this? And they go, it's ketchup mixed with malt vinegar.
Huh.
So I like ketchup on my fish and chips. And I like the malt vinegar, too, and had never thought about mixing them in my entire life. And now that's what I do. So when I was at the airport, I just mixed the ketchup with the malt vinegar. And everybody out there in the audience, try it, because it's really super delicious that way.
Well, I was in Utah while you were there, and Utah's got its own bit of weird going on with all kinds of stuff. Their big thing with fries, they serve it with like mayonnaise and ketchup mixed together. And they call it fry sauce. But I was at a Chinese restaurant, and you know how normally you get like beef fried rice or chicken fried rice? Everything came with ham fried rice.
Ham fried rice.
Right.
Wow. Do they have pork fried rice?
Yes, they do.
So is it just similar to that, and they just wanted to be cool and say ham instead?
Could be. I tried it. It tasted like a milder bacon, though. It's almost like a Canadian bacon. It was pretty good. I was surprised.
They're in love with bacon up there in Canada, and not just Canadian bacon. They're in love with I ordered this burger, this bison burger, and it had as much bacon on it as it had burger on it.
Oh, nice.
Let's see.
Bacon
One
makes
last
everything
thing.
better.
It does, but maybe not Canadian bacon, because that's basically ham.
Mm-hmm.
But they do have this thing called smoked meat. Have you heard of that?
I've heard of smoky meat, yes.
How do you picture it? If you're going to order some smoked meat, what do you picture it coming to you as?
Well, They don't tell you what kind of meat. They just tell you smoked meat.
They do not tell you what kind of meat. This comes from the first trip, too. I didn't order it this time because I didn't like it. Everybody else in the world seems to love it. But this hits one of my other food things that I don't like. I just wanted to see what your impression was, because when I ordered it, I was expecting to see one thing, and it came in another way.
I would expect beef, some form of beef.
Yeah, but what consistency, what kind of, whatever.
I picture, well, if it's like a lunch, I would picture something like maybe a Philly cheesesteak with smoked beef. Small little pieces of smoked beef.
Well, you're closer to it than I am, or I was, because when I picture smoked meat, I kind of get into that world of not so much jerky, but like those sausages that people make.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And I think of them as being that consistency, like maybe harder, like a sausage.
Right.
And when it showed up, it was floppy, greasy, slimy, beet red meat that seemed like it was undercooked, or maybe not even cooked at all. Like they just smoked it without pre-cooking it, right?
Okay.
And that's probably what they did. So it's basically like raw beef that they put in a smoker for a while, but it never cooked at all.
Okay.
And other people will say that it's like corned beef or something like that, which it is similar. If you dipped corned beef in slime, you'd have smoked meat. For me, it was gross. But they have it everywhere. They put it on the poutine too.
Ooh. See, when I think of like beef jerky, it always reminds me of Mike Zane.
Our warehouse guy, or our asset manager. Yes.
Yeah, it always reminds me of him because we were talking one day about dying in a plane crash and who would you eat first. And yeah, I figured he would taste like smoky beef jerky.
That's crazy. Because he's a Are you trying to say he's a grizzled up old man?
Well, he's old and he smokes a lot.
He's old and he smokes a lot. You're saying?
Yeah,
that's funny. Stupid. Poor Zane getting beat up on. I can't remember if I've talked, because that brings it up. Our friend Mike Zane had a conversation with me. Did I talk about the lunch on the show? I can't remember.
No, you didn't talk about it on the show, I don't think.
Huh. Because when I was heading off to Montreal, he says to me in the parking lot, Zane says, "Hey, Jerry, why don't you look up a friend of mine that's in Montreal? He's a really nice guy." And I went, "Why would I do that?" And he goes, "Well, he'll probably buy you lunch." And I go, "Well, wait a minute. I see what you're doing here. You think that I'm going to go to Montreal, visit with your friend who will buy me a lunch, and then I have to come back here and buy you a lunch as a pass-through lunch from your friend to you. Is that what it is?"
Exactly.
And he's like, no, I didn't say that. I'm like, bullshit. That's your whole entire master plan, to get a free lunch out of me.
You twisted it around on him. He probably wasn't even thinking of that.
Yeah, I don't think he was either, but I was railing against him. And I go, "You expect me to go there and he's going to buy me some shitty lunch, and then you're going to expect me to take you out to Ruth's Chris Steakhouse or something. You are not going to manipulate me, Mr. Zane."
See, that's always weird when you do something like that, where you meet up with a friend of a friend. Since he lives there, you guys can have fun. It's like, I've never met this person. What the hell am I going to do?
Right. I don't know that guy. Why would I want to meet that guy? You'd have to tell me something really fantastic about that guy. Like, go meet my friend Charlie over in Montreal. You'll love him. He's got a third nipple. Mm-hmm. It's got to be something that makes it worthwhile.
Yeah, like he was
to meet a complete stranger.
Like he was a midget wrestler, but now he's into kung fu and yoga.
Yeah, he's a hot air balloonist and a cardinal at the Catholic Church. Or something. Just come on, give me something to go on, because I just don't want to meet your friend Zane, whoever this guy is.
Yeah,
sit there and talk. He'll talk to me about things I don't know about, like he'll talk about airplane engines or something. That's crazy. You mentioned death, and I was thinking there's a strange thing that happens to me that may happen to you, and I don't know. Okay. I walk around when I'm walking around at work, in between things, on my way somewhere, I have strange thoughts that pop into my head. Not,
Say it isn't so,
not
Jerry.
not like creepy serial killer thoughts or anything like that, but just odd thoughts where I go, wait a minute, what about this? So not long ago, I was walking back to my desk and I somehow or another started thinking about the first dead guy. And that was, in my head, I'm picturing like a cave with cave people in it, like a cartoon or something. And somebody had died, but they don't know what that is yet because it's all new to them.
What do you do?
Like,
He just stopped talking.
Yeah.
He's ignoring us.
Right. They're like looking around going, hey, what's wrong with Ken? He's been sitting over there for like 3 days. He's been sleeping. What the hell's up with him?
He's starting to smell.
Right.
Maybe I should call the police department.
I know. Well, Judy, Ken was on the mammoth hunt the other day, and that really took a lot out of him. And he's just, they think he's sleeping. So I wonder what that was like with them sitting there with a dead body in the room, or whether or not they just ate him.
Oh,
I don't know. That's what made me think of when you talked about Mr. Zane being a piece of beef jerky. You think they ate Ken the caveman because they figured out, well, he's not moving and he does look delicious.
He looks yummy.
Right. All these years I was staring at Ken thinking about how yummy he looked, and now I get a chance to taste him.
Yeah, that would put immortality like in your head instantly. It'd be like, what the fuck? This could happen to him. It could happen to me too.
Yeah, and I know it's outlandish because they would have had to have a history of death before they were grown up, but I still like to picture it because it's got to be confusing to somebody at some point. Like animals do, and you see the sad animal story where some deer dies and the little baby deer is nudging it, like, wake up,
all that shit. Yeah, confusing.
Right. They might have been doing that to Ken. Wake up, Ken.
Ken, come on, start the fire.
Right, you're the only one that knows how to use the flint. It's just sitting there in the room. Or if they just left him sitting there and just went, well, Ken has reached a higher level of existence. Ken is like a Scientologist now. He's moved on to a higher level, but let's worship his body now until it rots away and turns into a skeleton, which we can put a little tiny hat on and pretend he's a god.
Oh, I've got a story for you.
Okay.
And it relates to death. It was in Whitehall, Michigan. And it just happened at the Clock Funeral Home is now closed in Whitehall, Michigan.
Okay.
Seems that the owner of the Clock Funeral Home
his clock ran out.
Nice. No, right. He was doing funeral services, but he wasn't actually like cremating the bodies and putting the bodies in with the burial. So like people had urns that didn't have their loved ones' remains in them, and he was charging them for the service and all that. Well,
yeah,
they caught the guy that owns the Clock Funeral Home.
Yeah. Drunk
driving with an 86-year-old body in his van that he was driving around.
Like, where to?
Well, she was supposedly buried like the week before.
Okay.
So he's just driving around with a dead body. It's like, how many laws are you breaking?
I don't know. And it's weird because this must be the first time in history anybody was trying to hide a dead body that they didn't murder.
Yeah.
I got to hide this body. I got to get rid of the evidence.
The guy's mental stability had to be out there, though. I mean, he must have been just like, oh, she's such a good friend. Come for a drive with me.
Dogs must be able to hear very well. We know that because I have headphones on, and Karen just came into the, quote, studio, unquote, and she jumped up to, like, say, hey, what's going on? And you said, oh, and you said something about good, and the dog looked right at me like I was saying it. She can hear you, I guess.
Nice. Hi, Karen.
Oh, Karen.
Squirrel.
She's a pant licker right now, licking my pants. Stop licking my pants. Anyway, was this body upright in the passenger seat.
I don't know if it was upright, but they found it in the van while he was drunk driving.
Was it a man or a woman? I forgot what you said.
It was a woman.
Oh, okay.
But
so they found Judy in the van.
Exactly. How creepy is that? Oh, she's sleeping.
It's super creepy, and it just conjures up all kinds of questions like, was Judy embalmed before the trip? Or was Judy like Ken and just sitting there rotting in his van?
Oh.
Where were they going?
Exactly. And he was drunk, so did he just come from the bar with Judy?
Right. Was he in the Chevron lane where you needed at least two people in the car to drive in that third lane on the side?
Yeah, just prop her up so he can drive the HOV lane the whole time.
Which is a great idea. For all of you undertakers out there, if you're trying to transport the body and there's heavy traffic, just let it sit up front.
Yeah.
And you can drive in the special lane, the carpool lane.
The diamond lane.
Yeah. Oh, I said Chevron, didn't I? Damn Canadian shit got in my head. It is the Diamond Lane.
Yep.
Oh, a shout out to Diamond Lane Larry. That's I remember that because in Arizona they have diamond lanes, and one of our friends we named Diamond Lane Larry.
Okay.
And it's sort of a dumb story because we found a filter on one of those like Instagram or Snapchat things. Mm-hmm. And it turned you into what kind of looked like a 70s cop guy or porn star or something.
Okay.
So my friend Walt's wife, Laura, who I call Larry anyway, for some reason, she was making videos and she'd put on this fake voice and be Diamond Lane Larry because we were talking about the Diamond Lane so much when we were out there. And she'd be like, "Hey, Michiganders, Diamond Lane Larry coming at you." You know, and she'd send videos, and it looked hilarious because it's a woman's face, or a woman with the man's face and the fake man voice. I'll have to show them to you because I have some of them. Mm-hmm. I don't know that that she would want me to post them on the podcast site. She is a listener, so maybe she will tell us whether or not it's okay to put Diamond Lane Larry on the site because I think they're hilarious.
Nice.
She's just bitching about the Diamond Lane. There's like 4 or 5 videos all about the Diamond Lane. But yeah, you could do that with a dead body, obviously.
Right. And
what else do we have about death? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, since he was drunk driving, I wanted to talk to you about liquor laws in weird states and drinking because Utah is fucked up.
Wait a minute now. Now we got to decide whether or not he was, in his mind, whether or not he was drinking with Judy. Mm-hmm. Were they hanging out having a couple of drinks? Which was maybe it was maybe it was a mobile Irish wake.
It could be.
Maybe he knew Judy. They were friends and he was taking her to the bar. That's what I would do. Like, you probably win in court if you did that. Go, look, I understand I shouldn't have had the body outside of the grave, but there's a reason for it. Judy's a friend of mine. She's Irish, and we thought we'd go to a couple of pubs like the old days.
She likes to drink. So
at least you could get that off your record. Before we leave death, do you remember the old song by Bobby Goldsboro called Honey?
No, I don't.
You don't remember that? And no. Honey, I miss you, and I'm feeling blue.
Oh, sing to me, Jerry. No, I don't remember that.
It's an old 70s song, and it is so crushing because it's all about death. It's about the guy's wife dying. The song builds up and talks about, and it's so sappy too. See the tree, how big it's grown. You know, it's just so stupid. Like he's singing to his dead wife. I noticed there's another song just like that out in Coffee House Land that I listened to, which I didn't realize it. I was listening to this song, and it's just this thing about this guy having a relationship and how he met the chick and how it went from them just dating or knowing each other to dating to then getting married and everything. And I wasn't paying that much attention. About the 4th time I heard it on the radio, I realized at the end of it, she dies.
Oh, what a way to kill a song.
And I'm like, oh, man, it just turned like a pleasant little song into a overly depressing, my wife died of cancer in the hospital song. And it reminded me of that. So I wondered if he listened to Bobby Goldsboro and said, well, we haven't done one of these in a long time. Let's depress the nation with my song.
We need a good depression depressing song, especially after all the politics that have been going on in this country.
Yeah, we must sit by ourselves in a hard wooden chair and think about what we've done to ourselves.
Yeah, it could be worse. Could be worse. We could be dead.
Right. Now, I don't want that taken the wrong way. I'm not talking about who won or anything, because it doesn't matter who won.
Right.
We still would have had to sit in a hard wooden chair and think about what we've done, because it's not about the people as much as it's about the environment we created, which is just ridiculous bullshit clickbait news shit all the time.
Yep. It's pretty bad when all your news comes from Facebook.
I know. I wish people would think about that for a second and go, "Oh no, I'm well informed. I read memes on social networks."
Exactly.
I don't necessarily know if they're true or not. I just believe them because they say things I like to hear.
Well, the Wall Street Journal last week confirmed my garage theory.
Your garage theory?
Yep. They did an article about all these new electric vehicles and how that, scooters and stuff and the electric charging and the batteries are getting so much better that more people are going to be going to electric vehicles. And there's these scooters that are, have 30-mile range now. And they're around $500 you can get one. And the modes of transportation are going to be changing, so therefore people won't be needing their garages for vehicles anymore, so they can use it for other things.
I don't get that one, because you still need to park it out of the snow.
Well, they were also referring to Uber and Lyft and how a lot of the younger generation aren't buying new cars. That they're
I get what the angle is. I just think that may work in the warmer climates, but I can still see what you're saying. Like you to picture an article in Life magazine that says like the death of the American garage.
Yep.
So now you're thinking that in some areas everybody can just take their garage now because they're not going to. Is it because they're not going to work on the vehicle? What's the connection?
I don't know, because I'm redoing my garage and I could still pull a car in here if I wanted to.
Yeah, we do the same thing. We've got like some carpet down and all kinds of stuff and dartboards and shit like that in the garage, but we can still fit a car in there at the same time.
I wonder how many people's garages have fridges in them.
Mine does.
Mine does too. I know a lot of people that have it. I wonder if that's like a new trend, or if it's just gradually grown, or what the heck the deal is.
I think maybe it happened the way it did for us. I don't know about you, but we rent. So at one point we bought a fridge and then we moved out. So it's our fridge. We go to the next house and they have another fridge.
Yep.
So we move one of them into the garage.
Because that's where you drink and you don't want to have to run inside all the time. And it's convenient.
And we found out too, through trial and error, that in the winter months, depending on what kind of garage you have, you unplug your fridge just because it'll just wreck it. If it's sitting there trying to run when it's colder in the garage than the fridge is, and it just kind of it makes it angry, makes it not want to work for you anymore.
It defeats the purpose, right?
Yeah, but this garage is a little bit warmer because it's attached and it's got a furnace in it. We don't use it all the time, just occasionally.
Right.
And so this one I think we keep plugged in but turned so it doesn't kick on and off all the time. Wasn't that fascinating?
That was fascinating.
Shut up, damn it.
So let me tell you about the drinking laws in Utah, Jerry.
Yes. Get right to it.
So evidently, Salt Lake City years back had the Winter Olympics. And that's when they changed the rule. They used to give a half an ounce shot or a half an ounce of liquor in their mixed drinks. Now they're up to a whole 1 ounce. Everyone else in the country is an ounce and a half.
Yeah, it's a jigger. An ounce and a half is what they're supposed to pour in.
Well, they don't.
Yeah.
They do an ounce. And you cannot buy a side shot of the same liquor that is in your mixed drink. But you can buy it for a friend. And then when the bartender...
No way!
But when the bartender's back is turned, you pour it in and now you have a double. They don't have doubles there. They don't have, happy hour type things, buy one, get one free or 2 for $1 or any of that shit. They also have liquor licenses where you have to have food in front of you to be drinking in the establishment.
That's got to be the Mormon influence out there, right?
Yep. But if there's a group of 4 of you and you order nachos, as long as one person in your group has food in front of them, you can drink.
This is so weird.
It's so stupid. And then some of the places, they can't display liquor. So you can order a cocktail, but they have to go in a back room, make it, and then bring it out in the glass. So you don't see what they're actually mixing.
Do they also have to wear a wizard's outfit and wave some sort of a wand around too? Because it sounds really bizarre.
I don't know who they're saving themselves from, because it's like everyone finds ways around these loophole, stupid laws.
I know who they're not saving themselves from. Themselves.
Exactly.
And by the way, when you do the cheating shot, you're still only getting 1.5, not a double.
Mm-hmm. Yep. The math doesn't add up.
Right. Stupid.
But I was with
stupid Utahians.
I was with Jim a couple nights. We went out to the bar, and he was like, "I can't even get drunk in this town."
Who's Jim?
It's Jim B from not Jim Broderick, but Jim Billings.
No. You're supposed to tell the crowd, so you say it's a work associate.
It's a work associate. Yep.
We keep forgetting we have a crowd that doesn't know what you're talking about.
Yep. But he's out of Chicago, and we went out. When he goes out, he gets dressed up to the nines. I mean, he's wearing a suit, dress shoes, a long coat, and he walks in, and it's like people think he's with the mafia or something because he's got that Chicago accent and everything, or like he owns the place. And people were coming up to him out of the blue and talking to him. Like we had this one guy comes up to him to bum a cigarette off him. We're outside, and the kid's wearing this blue jean jacket with a antisocial patch and then a founder patch. And Jim looks at him and goes, "What the fuck is that?" And the kid's like, "Well, I'm the founder."
Oh, he's got a patch that indicates that he founded something. Okay.
And he's like, "What are you the founder of?" He said, "The Antisocial Club." Well, isn't that kind of a contradiction?
Yeah. Well, then why are we talking?
So Jim's quizzing the guy. He's like, "So how many members are in this Antisocial Club?" He goes, "Well, there's 15 of us." He goes, "The meetings must be really quiet." Because they just meet around, and he goes, "Where do you have your meetings at?" He's like, "Oh, in my cave." He calls it his cave. It's like, where the fuck do you meet people like that? There's no way. Antisocial clubs.
How do you have a meeting of the Antisocial Club? How do you get everybody to show up?
You just, I don't know. You must pass notes or something.
Yeah. Maybe, and even then, that's social too.
But then he chased us down in the parking lot, and he wanted to get Jim's number. I think he wanted to make him an honorary member of the Antisocial Club.
Because he was so social.
Exactly.
That guy's backwards.
It's got to be hard to get members of the Antisocial Club, you know?
It is. I was just trying to think of Tombstone. What were they? The dumb club name for the Chinese? Do you remember when they were? You know Tombstone, right? Everybody knows that movie. And he talks about having a meeting down at the blah blah anti-Chinese league or something like the stupid names of the club. So what I mean is that I feel like they don't know what antisocial means, and they just wanted to have a club.
Right. But then again, the guy's out at a bar in a social atmosphere.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. People are weird.
They are. And you know what? I got to apologize for saying stupid Utahians, because one of our other listeners, Chris Staniforth, is a Utahian.
Yes, he is.
Or would they say a Utite?
A Utite. Actually, we've got a new listener out in Utah. We should do a shout out for Michelle's started listening. She was one of our stagehands.
Hi, Michelle.
So turn her onto the podcast. So hopefully she listens some more. And
I hope you have your chastity pajamas on.
For all the stuff you're going to hear. Ooh. So.
No, it's just because that's the Mormon thing. Don't they have like chastity
belts,
clothing, or underwear? It's like they have locks on their underwear so that they don't accidentally have sex before marriage.
Oh, we'll have to ask Chris about that because his wife's Mormon.
Well, then he's out of luck then. No, he's got kids, so obviously they were able to pick the lock or something.
Evidently. Evidently they picked the lock.
You've never heard of that before?
The chastity belts, yeah.
Not the chastity belts, but the Mormon underwear is it's really a whole different thing. It's they lock up their underwear for their men and their women until they're married. In some cases, real devout Muslim. I was going to say Muslim Mormons.
So does it
whatever devout crazy religions?
Does it set off the TSA alarm when they go through the security at the airport?
You'd think it would have to, otherwise it'd be a pretty easy lock to break into if it wasn't metal.
Mm-hmm.
TSA, that reminds me of something.
Okay.
Would you like to hear?
Sure. I would love to hear.
Because this falls under the title Things Lisa Says.
Okay.
And right now, she's cringing because there was a discussion about whether or not we would use this, and of course I'm going to use it because it's hilarious to me.
And she said not to, so you have to.
So I bought plane tickets for her and my daughter and my niece to go down and visit in Florida with Lisa's sister, niece's mom, that kind of thing.
Yep.
And of course, it's on my account and everything. And although flying is easy for you and I to figure out all that stuff, sometimes it's confusing to others. So I just said, all right, I'm going to team viewer into my computer and print out the passes for you, right? The boarding passes.
Right.
So I did that from my phone in a restaurant, which I think is cool.
Yeah.
And anyway, we're texting back and forth. And here's the text conversation. I say, you're all checked in. We just have to print later. That's the beginning of it. She goes, okay, cool. Thanks, dummy. And then the next entry is, should be printed. Let me know. She goes, K, I'll check in a minute. And then 20 minutes later, she goes, got it. Guess who got pre-checked? This bitch. And then immediately afterwards, she texts, I don't really know what that means, though. I thought that was so funny. She gets all excited. Guess who got pre-checked? This bitch.
I got it.
But I don't know what that means, though.
No clue.
Then I just sent her back Things Lisa Says. And then she started telling me that if I did it, that she would have to stab me. So I guess I better expect a knife wound coming up.
Oh, she already told me how she's going to kill you, Jerry. You're going to be sleeping and there's going to be a pillow over your head. It's going to be silent. It's going to be quick. It's going to look like
there's going to have to be poison involved. Oh, you know what? You know why that's not going to work?
Because your sleep mask. Your sleep mask.
Yes, I have the sleep mask. I'm one of those people that has to have the sleep apnea mask, so you can't smother me. I always have an air supply. Well, unless you put a kink in the hose.
Kink the hose and then put the pillow over, and he just died in his sleep. Must have been sleep apnea.
She's constantly telling me that she's going to kill me. Yeah. So
that's a good way. I don't know if that's a good way to live your life, Jerry. In fear.
Yeah, but I'm not really sure if I believe it or not, because she's not like really trying to get out of the murder charge that way.
Right.
So she may want to go to jail, though. I don't know. Maybe that's her retirement plan. She knows I'm not going to do anything to set her up for retirement. So she'll just kill me and then retire to where she can get, what do they call that? 3 squares and a something or other.
3 squares in a 12 by 12 room or 10 by 10 room that she doesn't have to clean.
Yeah, 3 hots and a cot is what she's going to go for.
3 hots and a cot. Well, yeah, that could be heaven for some people. Not having to clean, and it depends if they give you a roommate or not, you know?
I think they always give you at least one, unless you're like Manson or somebody.
Or Stinson.
Or Stinson or somebody. You know, speaking of, we don't want to drop too many names, but that guy that we know who's in jail.
Yeah.
I've just deleted his phone contact from my phone yesterday at the airport when I was waiting around, going through my contacts and cleaning up the old ones that I haven't used in 10 years.
Well, that means he's going to call you.
And I saw that one and I'm going, oh.
I'm never going to use that one again.
Mm-hmm.
Thing is, when you refresh your phone, you'll probably get it back. So when you get a new phone and you update, it saves all your contact numbers. It'll pop back up again.
No, it's deleted off of the accounts. Deletes it like right. That's a Google one. So when I delete it off the phone, it goes away from the whole account. They won't do that. It would refresh if it was on there. That brings up the point, too. How long do you wait into a friend's jail term before you delete their contact information?
Good question, Jerry.
Right.
I guess it depends. If he's serving 30 years, I would say it's safe to delete.
Yeah. But there could be an easier way to mark that down, too. It could be just after the last appeal is denied.
Yeah.
Maybe that's when you do it. Because you'd hate to, like, delete the guy and find out that, like, he didn't really kill that guy. And then you feel like a dick because then they call and you're like, who's this?
Yeah.
Sorry. It's Phil. I just got out. I'm innocent. What the fuck? Did you delete me? I thought we were friends.
Not anymore.
Well, Phil, I know you're innocent, but I'm still a little bit leery about having you come over to the house. Phil.
What else
Let's
we got?
see. Canadians.
Oh,
I know we talked about that.
I've got one for you.
What do you want? You want Canadians first, or do you want yours first?
Do Canadians first.
Okay. Things I learned while in Montreal. Canadians are super polite. They're like weird, super polite people who don't like, I don't know how to describe it. It's like they don't get stressed out. They're not angry at you. If there's a problem, they're very calm about it.
They don't complain.
I wonder if behind my back, though, it's like, that motherfucker, you know?
I'm sure it is. You know, they just hold it back until the end of the day.
Right. But this is when they're not polite. I've found out. It's pretty across the board that they're super nice and polite, and it's fun to be around them. Great people, unless they are working in a retail shop in Montreal and speak French.
And then they're arrogant asses.
Then they are not polite.
Yeah.
And I learned this the first time I was there. I had an old lady in an office supply store. I had to go buy paper. And this old lady came up to me because I was wearing a badge from the show floor. And I think she thought I worked there. So she started saying, like, things to me. And I said, I'm sorry, I don't speak French. And she gave me, like, the worst kind of turn around dismissively, waving her hand like you're worthless, and walked away. In the same store, the guy behind the counter refused to wait on me because I didn't speak French. And I had to wait for a manager to come over and yell at him and then ring me up himself. And that was weird.
Well, you're their country. You have to speak their language. Or at least try.
Yeah, but their country is bilingual. It's not officially French. Yeah. They don't have their own country. They want their own country over there in Quebec.
Right.
But they're not going to get it yet. So this was all the way up until like the day before I left or 2 days before I left, and I hadn't experienced any of that. Everybody was pretty nice. But then I had to venture out into the city because I needed to buy some micro SD cards for backup purposes.
Okay.
And I had to go.
And
so not only am I trudging through down like the downtown Montreal area, which is beautiful, by the way. It's like being in Europe. It's old, and it's a combination of classic, old architecture and brand new, super clean looking architecture. It's great.
Okay.
But it was all super slushy, kind of wet snow raining down on me, and at that level of cold where you're just freezing, and my shoes were soaked and my feet were soaked inside my shoes, and I had to walk. And this is so dumb too, because it all turned into the perfect storm, because I didn't know this. So I'm looking at, and my GPS wouldn't work. It was spinning around. So at one point I got confused and I walked 4 blocks the wrong way and had to go walk 4 blocks back. And it turns out that the way to get to this Micro Bites store, which is the only option at that time of the night, because it's nighttime too, is uphill and then turn left on a big street and go uphill again. So that's it. So halfway up the first hill, like a San Francisco hill.
Yeah.
I stop at Couche-Tard, the place. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Couche-Tard, because they dropped the D.
Okay.
And thought maybe they've got a couple of micro SD cards in this place. And I go in, go to the counter. The guy comes up with the bonjour, and I say English, and he goes, for that I say hello, and I ask him about it, and he's like, no, and it's like this attitude of no, get away from me.
Yeah.
Not even a good. I'm like, thank you, sir, and not even a goodbye or anything.
Or you might want to try Best Buy or another store.
Yeah.
No advice.
No, nothing. So I go back out and continue my. It was only like a mile and something walk, but it was still hideous. So I get to the microbike store, and I go in, and they're almost ready to close. The place is empty. There's one guy working there, and I'm ready for it almost, because I walk in, and he's on the phone, speaking French, walking around, ignoring me completely. And like I'm a street person or something, and going back and forth. Finally, he gets off the phone and he walks over and he goes, bonjour. And I go, English? And he goes, yeah, I guess so. And I
Stupid Americans.
And I go like this. I go, repulsive, isn't it? And he starts laughing.
Yeah.
And I go, I feel like everybody's repulsed every time I say that. And then all of a sudden, he was super nice to me and helpful.
Cool. You made a friend.
I know I made a friend by making fun of myself. But they tell me that it's not American people that speak English, that it's Canadians who speak English, and maybe they hear the dialect that I don't, because I told the people on the show floor that, and they were saying, oh no, he probably heard your American dialect, so he knew that you weren't a Canadian. There's mad at Canadians who don't attempt to speak French to them.
Oh, okay. So there's different philosophies in the whole French-English thing. Got it.
Mm-hmm. Hey, app of the day. I got an app for you.
Okay.
Because I was there. Google Translate has now bought up some other software and included it in the Google Translate package that's just freaking amazing. It's where it used to be just that you could type in a word and it would give you the translation for any language you want. Right. And then or you could start talking into it and it would repeat it. Okay. And then you could do conversations where you hit the button, you talk, and it repeats it. Then you aim the phone to the other person, and they can talk, and it repeats it back to you. You could have a conversation. Okay. Well, now they had a camera button. I didn't know what that was for. So I hit it, and then the camera view comes up. But when you look through your lens, through the phone, and you put it on text, it says align text here, it changes whatever it sees to the language you want.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
And it's even cooler than you think, because the first thing I tried it on was a Diet Mountain Dew bottle, because it was the only thing in sight. It changes the font and the colors to try and match what it's on. So it tries to make it look like what you're looking at.
Okay. That's
cool. And it does a great job. I mean, when I put it on that bottle, it's like it's now French, and it's the same font and letters and logo, and it sticks it right to where it's supposed to be. So if you move the phone around, it still stays there. It's a really cool effect. So you can walk around, and now you can read things. You should try just for fun. You probably can download it on iOS.
So we're getting to a point where now translators, real people translation is obsolete.
I don't know. They might not yet, because they're fast at it and there's no mistakes. Because the thing was kind of screwing up on me, and I do realize another thing about two things about it.
I just changed your mind on it. You were saying how great this thing was, and now you're changing your mind.
No, I was saying that camera view thing.
Yeah.
No, and I was explaining where they were at in the thing. It's never been perfect, because I think I talked to the show about the Asian woman that I was trying to use it to give her a tip. And she didn't seem to understand it, but I didn't know what kind of Chinese to pick.
Right.
But this one, so two things. The microphone wasn't working very well, and it would cut off my sentence halfway and confuse and frustrate everybody. But then when I got it to work, I was talking to some guy who was looking at one of the things down on the show floor and asking me questions. So I finally got it to work. And, oh, no, that was the cab driver, because that guy was screwed up. The cab driver on the way to the airport, I was talking into it and then playing it back, and he wasn't responding to me like, oh, yeah, I get it. I understand now. He was just acting as though I was saying it. Do you know what I mean about that? Where like it was so natural for him to just hear the language and he understood it. Right. And I'm sitting there waiting for him to say, yes, I understand. And he's really just acting like a normal person. When I would say, yeah, I need to go to the Delta terminal. And they would just, kind of sit there and not say yes.
Not acknowledge it. Right.
Yeah. But I don't think it was the fault. I think it was because it worked so well that it didn't need a bunch of conversation around it.
Well, that sounds like a great app.
Yeah, at times it works. At other times it was giving me a problem. Probably because of the noise in the convention center and not in the cab.
Yeah.
And you can swear in it too. Because you could swear at your crew for fun.
And it comes up with great swear words in different languages. Yeah. Awesome. You're learning, Jerry. Every day you're learning more and more.
I had that my first trip. I used it, and I was the trainer down there, and I would swear at the crew and say like, "All right, you lazy sons of bitches, get to work!" Like after lunch, yeah. And they all start laughing. This time I didn't use it that way, but I showed up my first day and met some of the crew, and they started going. One guy starts going, "Oh, you're the big boss." He was super heavy. And I go, no, and we don't think of it that way. I'm here. I'm part of the team. No, you're the big boss. You're the boss. He kept going on with the you're the boss thing.
Yeah.
So that night I went home and I went to the hotel and researched how to say stuff in French. And then when I got to the show floor, I was standing next to my boss, actually. But the guy came walking by and I go, "Je suis le chef." And he's like, "Aha!" Which is just me saying I'm the boss. and so they love that kind of stuff.
Smart asses.
It's easy. And I'm sure we would too.
Yep.
If some guy came over here and was using Google Translate, we'd think it was hilarious too.
So you are home all alone right now, Jerry.
Uh-oh. You're going to break the security. Oh, that's right. By the time the show airs, I won't be home alone, so it doesn't matter. Yes.
So
I was just going to say, I thought about, Lisa and Lindsay, my daughter, are both visiting in Florida, as you know, from the plane tickets. So I was thinking of having a risky business party, which is the kind of party where your two parents leave, because mine just left.
Are you going to dance around to Bob Seger in your underwear?
Done and done.
Awesome. Are you going to invite a bunch of hookers over and try to make a profit off of them? And then
I'm sorry, no.
And then have sex with one of them on a train, and they'll steal your furniture and sell it back.
Yeah, and then you're going to take your dad's car and shove it out a glass window. Oh, that's a different movie. Damn it. No, none of that stuff. And no, I'm not having a risky business party, but I have not been in my house alone in 15 years.
So you don't know what to do with yourself.
When I got home, I was all weird. I'm like, what is this? This is strange. Me and Karen the dog hanging out. Yep. And it was empty and nothing going on. And I thought, this is so weird. And it's weird right now, too.
No one telling you what to do?
I don't know how to act. It's almost like you don't even know I wonder if I should sit in this chair or not. Maybe I'll sit in this chair.
Well,
you're all lost.
Here's a topic for you. The strangest things you do when you're alone or in private. Do you have any weird, quirky things you do that nobody else really knows about, or maybe Lisa might know about, but people at work wouldn't, or your close friends?
Yes, I fart out loud.
Oh, I do that all the time. That's nothing new. No,
it's weird for us because when I met Lisa, I decided I'm not going to fart in front of this one like my brother does, my dad does, and everybody else. Every guy in the world ends up farting in front of their wife, right?
Yeah.
So I started off with a no fart policy and then decided to see how long it could go. And I've stretched it out now. Besides maybe an accidental you heard it around the corner fart or something like that, then I don't sit in the room with anybody and fart. Now my brother will come over for Thanksgiving. I know he loves to have me talk about him on the show like this.
Right.
And he'll eat the big meal and sit in the chair and fall half asleep and then just fart right in front of the entire family.
I always worry about that on a plane. If I start to doze off, that maybe I'll fart because I fart in my sleep a lot. But
wait a minute. I had one of those. Damn it. I did have exactly that. Didn't I talk about it on the show?
You farted on a plane and woke yourself up?
I fell asleep on the plane and I woke myself up with, no, that wasn't it. That was not it. That was a snore.
Oh,
but to your point, though, it was just in one of the last 3 or 4 trips I took where I don't even know how this happened. It was like an old man moment. We're waiting to get off of the plane. And I didn't even know I had to. And I had my backpack and everything. When I stood up to work my way through the gigantic, enormous crowd to get off the plane,
you let one rip. Nice.
And I couldn't figure it out. Like, where'd that come from? That's never happened. I used to make fun of like the old teacher in school that would go to the chalkboard and fart and try and ignore it because he was 80. That's not something that you get when you're in your 40s.
Yeah.
And it hasn't happened since, but yes.
And when you're dating,
that would be worrisome.
When you're dating or you're courting your spouse, you don't fart. Did Lisa, once you got married, did she finally rip one in front of you and you were like, oh my God?
Nope, we don't do the farting. Neither one of the girls or anything. Our house is like a fart-free zone. If you have to fart, well, I think when I leave, all 3 of them stand around farting, probably. Mm-hmm. But I'm the odd man out, I guess, because I'm the only man.
Well, one of my strange things that I do that no one knows about is I like to take cottage cheese and put it in bologna and roll it up and eat it like that.
That sounds like something that I've seen. I think I've seen hors d'oeuvres like that.
Yeah, I do.
Where they roll up bologna and put a like a toothpick through it like that.
Yep. That and I'll like if I have an itchy back, I'll scratch my back on a door frame when no one's around.
Oh, I do that, but I don't hide that. I'll do that when everybody's home. I'll just walk through and like a bear lean up against the door frame and scratch your back.
That, or if you're picking your nose in your car. You know, what do you do with it?
People do that?
Yep. The one thing is, if I'm picking my nose and I have no place to put it, you can always put it back and get it later. I'll do that occasionally, and people think that's weird.
Hang on. Go through that again.
Well, if you're picking your nose in your car and you get a good one, you don't want to wipe it on your seat, you know, that type of thing, and you don't have a tissue, you just put it back in your nose and then get it later.
Shut up. I couldn't believe that was the actual words you used. The words that came out of your mouth don't make any human sense.
Oh?
You pick your nose and put it back.
Yeah.
Well, very interesting.
You start picking your nose and then you realize you have no place to put it. And it's like, fuck, put it back and get it later.
All right. I think you're lying to me. I think you're making this shit up.
No. It's true, because I usually have tissues in my Jeep, and I found myself the other day, the tissues were empty, and I picked my nose, and I'm like, I got no place. Oh, I could wipe it on the seat, but then, dry up and fall on the car mat and shit. And
wipe it on the seat. Just flick it out the window.
I'm almost home. Well, it was a wet one, So I'm like, I just stuck it back up there and got it when I got home.
Man, I'm halfway amused and halfway repulsed at the same time.
Oh,
it's weird. But I'll remember what I always say, Gavin.
What is that?
You can pick your friends and you can pick your nose, but you can't wipe your friends underneath the couch.
That's a good one. I like that.
I'm not much of a nose-picking driver. I don't remember. I'm sure I've done it, but I don't remember even the last time. So it's very infrequent that it would have to be an emergency picking for that to happen.
Well, it's usually in the wintertime when it gets dry out. That's when you get the crusty ones. And those are the ones you can flick out the window, no problem. But it's the other ones. Or if you sneeze on your hand, you have to wipe it on your pants.
On your pants. You're saying all the wrong things. It's beautiful. Way back in like the 3rd or 4th episode, I remember talking to Ryan about how people view celebrities, and that was one of the things that I used. Like, I was saying, Ryan, tell me which celebrity I could do it to you. Tell me which celebrity woman would be your perfect deal. Like if you could pick any of these movie stars or singers or whatever, who would that be? Who's your crush?
Oh, Jessica Alba, probably.
All right. We'll go with Jessica Alba. Davin, were you aware that she poops in a toilet?
I know. It's scary.
It's weird. You never see that. And that she has picked her nose in the car and wiped it on the carpet.
Yep. Oh.
Does that change your impression of Jessica Alba? Because I'm sure nobody thinks of Jessica Alba as shitting or picking her nose.
Or farting or any of that stuff.
And
sharding herself.
Like sharding in a leather chair or something like that. Anyway, that was just a weird thought. That was one of those weird thoughts I had a long time ago. That people put these celebrities on a pedestal, and if they actually lived with them, like Jessica Alba's husband has to deal with that, like sharts and stuff from her.
Really? Yeah. Submarine captain, where you fart under the comforter and pull it up over her head.
Submarine captain. I think that's called a Dutch oven where I'm from.
Oh, Dutch oven. I was used
to
yell
be both.
Submarine captain, and then I used to do that to my ex-wife all the time. She hated it.
Yeah, I don't know why. Trapping her head underneath the fart covers. I don't know what to call this episode, whether I should call this one. There's a couple of options. The First Dead Guy, or the show about death, because we did a lot of talk about that.
Yep.
Or maybe just Death and Boogers.
Death and Boogers.
You think that should be it?
Because, well, that makes sense. You could always put it back.
You can always you can't put death back.
Sure you can. Death has a design. Haven't you watched Final Destination?
I have watched that. That's true. Yeah. Yeah, I forgot. You've once again, you've trumped me with science.
Sounds like we're at the end, Jerry.
Yeah, we actually ran a little long. This is a good time. We're over an hour. So Bill Christensen will be mad now that he's got to listen over an hour.
That's true. He won't make it all
spelled the right way. All right, Davin, thank you for once again joining me on the You Name It podcast.
Yep, we'll
and
catch you again next week. And Papa Wheelie.